This is Paul Turner, the immigration barrister at Imperium Chambers. If you have an immigration problem, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me and I will do my level best to help you. Today, I've had a number of requests on what has been called the UK Immigration Amnesty. And I thought I'd produce a very short update on where we're at with it and why we need one. As people will know, there was a debate in Parliament which did not succeed. There was a subsequent petition which again did not succeed. So there is a clear need for more people to be active in pushing, especially before the local elections, the need for an amnesty for undocumented migrants in the United Kingdom, particularly those that have been here for over, say, 10 years, and those that have got no criminal records and those that have children. The reasons for this are obvious. At the moment, the country clearly can take people. It's issued 72,000 visas to Ukrainian refugees, so surely numbers aren't an issue. So the country can absorb such people. And indeed, such people are in the United Kingdom at the moment. Now, one of the major benefits of having an amnesty, other than it being humanitarian and allowing people to participate in society and not be subject to the hostile environment and living in fear, is the amount of money that it would generate. Because an awful lot of people that are forced to live and work in the United Kingdom illegally because they have nothing to go back to, or the countries that they go back to have been destroyed or are very poor, could contribute to the United Kingdom's economy by paying taxes and working legally, as opposed to being forced to support themselves by working illegally and being exploited by unscrupulous employers. Surely if the million or so undocumented migrants were granted some form of status, subject of course to police checks, then they would be able to contribute a considerable amount to the exchequer and ease the burden of living crisis. This is particularly so because it's estimated that there's 1 million people in the country out of a population of 60 or 70 million people who are here that are undocumented. So if they were granted visas and allowed to work legally, then that would result in a huge increase to the revenue and make life easier for everybody else. So not only do we have the humanitarian aspects, such as families living in poverty, families that have been exploited, children that are uncertain, people that don't have access to medical services, but this would allow people that are simply not going to be removed by the Home Office because it doesn't have the resources and it doesn't have the will to remove them, to contribute positively to society. I've done a number of videos on this. I was reluctant to do this video, but I think it's important to keep it in the public's mind, especially in the run-up to the May local elections, that there is a need for the marginalised in society to be brought back into society so that they can contribute positively. I don't think that, in reality, I think that the time for a amnesty will be after the government passes its controversial immigration bill and therefore can appear to have been tough on migrants. And then they could then introduce, say, a Legacy 2 scheme whereby people that have been here for a certain period of time, haven't committed any offences, can have their status regularised and therefore contribute to the economy. So I would say now is obviously a good time to start. However, things probably are overshadowed by what's happening in Ukraine. But Brexit's clearly shown that there's a huge demand for labour. And quite simply, the immigration rules do not allow or make it easy for people to bring people into the country to do jobs. These are jobs that people could do or are doing in the United Kingdom anyway. And by granting an amnesty would allow them to do them lawfully. It seems to be that there seems to be no sensible reason for not granting an amnesty. And indeed, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, on at least 6 occasions, said that an amnesty for people that have been here for a considerable period of time would be a good idea. So it's really, given Boris's lack of credibility recently, it would be good if he stood by something that he said earlier and pushed ahead with an amnesty. I'm sure if he told Priti Patel to put one in place or to create one, then that would do something. All this fluff about pushing people back or sending them to Rwanda seems to be a sideshow or a distraction from the Home Office's major failings. So really, all that we can do is keep pushing for this, keep raising this as a topic, write to your MPs, write to your councillors. If you have friends, get them to write as well, and get this brought back into the public eye. because if it's not brought back into the public eye, the Home Office will simply ignore migrants and hope they go away, something that's not going to happen, and they're never going to be removed. So the humane thing to do, in my view, is to grant an amnesty for people that have been here for a certain period of time and have no criminal records. This would resolve the problem, and then with the tougher new borders bill, stop more people from coming into the United Kingdom unless they come in lawfully. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As I say, it is just an update on what I think should happen and why it should happen and when it should happen. Thank you again. Stay safe. This is Paul Turner, the Immigration Barrister at Imperium Chambers.